A very good evening, Team Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. We are back so that we talk about what is happening in the nation called Zimbabwe. And we have seen President Emerson Mnangagwa when he was in Russia. He made a very, very disappointing statement where he called upon Russia to come and defend Zimbabwe from Zambia. And, you know, as Russia actually sabotaged President Emerson Mnangagwa. This was not supposed to leak. This was not supposed to come out. But President Mnangagwa has been sabotaged, and this shows that the relations between Emerson Mnangagwa and Russia are not that strong. He charged the wrong people. He charged somebody who was not supposed to be charged. I'm going to show you the Zambia Russia relations. What was happening in April? Let us talk about this April, which just passed away. Let us take a look on what was happening there.
Russian ambassador to Zambia, Azim Yarakmedov, told VOA in Lusaka that his government wants to improve on the existing close relations between his country and Zambia.
To sum it up, I would like to say that Russia and Zambia have good prospects to deepen their cooperation. It is based on the fact of the relations between the people of Zambia and Russia, and based on those warm relations between the people of Zambia and Russia. We actually prepared and submitted for consideration on the Zambian side the agreement for visa-free travel between both of our countries.
Zambia attended the second.
So Zambia is actually working to have a visa-free in between Russia and Zambia. This is being worked so that when Zambians are leaving Zambia, they go to Russia without a visa. Russians, when they come to Zambia, they go without a visa. Is that provision available for Zimbabwe? No. You have to apply for a visa because Emerson Mnangagwa cannot be trusted. If Russia opens that for us, Russia, you see. So they will never open such a provision to Zimbabwe, but they've opened, or they were negotiating the prospects of that with Zambia. So which country does have better relations with Zimbabwe, with Russia, Zimbabwe, or Zambia? The one which is negotiating to have visa-free travel. And this is embarrassing for Emerson Mnangagwa. Let us replay the video. Let us replay, and so that you get to understand the problem of Emerson Mnangagwa. And I want you to take a look on the expressions.
The relations just ended there. And thereafter, both the British and the Americans have not looked upon us. They think that we are too much inclined to the East. But we have no apologies at all. We feel we are better in relations with the people who also respect us, not persons who look down upon us. So we are very happy to be here. And we are anxious to actually have our relations more comprehensive and consolidated between ourselves. Yes, we are a very advanced country, but there's a lot that we can learn from you. There's a lot that we can benefit from that relationship. And there's a lot that we can open for the Russian Federation to participate in our economy, especially in the mining sector and in agriculture. There's a lot that we can afford for you to participate. And in that process, the West will run away. You see, the West have just begun consolidating their power in Zambia, our next neighbor. You know, there was a time when Zambia and Zimbabwe were one. It was called Northern and Southern Rhodesia. It was one by the British, but we are now separate. And the Americans are consolidating their power in that country, both in terms of security and in terms of financial support to Zambia, to make sure that we feel lonely. But that will not change us, because we have taken a course which, as a people, that we feel we want to be independent, and we choose our friends ourselves. And besides, we are independent today because most of us in the leadership trained here during our war of liberation. We got our independence because we were supported by yourselves here, and we don't forget that history, and you stood by us. So, Mr. President, I am happy to be here, and if opportunity avails later on, I mean, we may find time to chat and go into more detail as which areas we must focus in terms of supporting each other, and in terms of where we feel we need external support, more especially in the area of defense and security, as well as food security. those areas we need to be supported. The mechanization of agriculture and so on. We can't go to the West. We have to come here because the West would want to see us down. They support our neighbors, Zambia and Malawi, very heavily. But in spite of that, Zimbabwe's economic growth is the fastest growing economy in the region, in spite of us being isolated by the Americans. So, Your Excellency, I'm very happy to be here.
So if you take a look on this statement alone, Zambia is not hiding its interest in the US. Zambia is not hiding its interest in China. Zambia is not hiding its interest in Russia. Zambia is cooperating with each and every country, and it's not fighting other people's battles. Zambia is fighting its own battles. Then you fast forward to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is applied several times and is appealing for Commonwealth to allow them to join the Commonwealth again. What about BRICS? They've not applied to join BRICS, but they've applied to join Commonwealth. Do you think Putin is not aware of such kind of shenanigans? Do you think Putin does not know that? So you say that all this hullabaloo and the leaking of this video, then it exposes Emerson Mnangagwa, and this has deepened this has actually destroyed ties and any possible cooperation between Zimbabwe and Zambia. Remember, after the elections in Zimbabwe, after the SOM report, Patrick Chinamasa and the other boys, they threatened the president of Zambia. They started funding even Vanalungu, simply because they wanted to spite the president of Zambia. And they've done the same to say Zambia is doing ABCD, so you have to come and protect us. The man is running around. Instead of the men to do what needs to be done, is running around begging food, begging everything else. They are buying cars for individuals, but they are begging tractors, or they are buying, begging mechanization, agriculture mechanization tools from Russia. Who does that? So you can actually see that Putin as a man with wisdom, he understands Emerson Mnangagwa, the man who is, he knows him, Kuti Mnangagwa Ndian, and was just letting him speak whatever he was speaking and embarrassed him by leaking this video. Very few months ago, Zambia, the ambassador of Russia was negotiating on behalf of Russia for deeper cooperation between Russia and Zambia. Is that happening in Zimbabwe? Not to that level. So as I mentioned earlier, there are plans to have Russians and Zambians travel in between countries without a visa. That provision is not here in Zimbabwe. So if you take a look onto that, you see that Mnangagwa has jeopardized these opportunities to be trusted by any leader. He can't be trusted anymore. He is fighting the leaders in SADC because of the SOM report, which Zambia said we have to deal with the impasse in Zimbabwe. We have to make sure that we deal with this issue in Zimbabwe before it escalates. This is the reason why Mnangagwa is trying to find the relations with Putin. The idea is to try and stop what is coming on SADC. There's a storm which is coming on SADC summit. This is what Mnangagwa is trying to quench, that if it happens, you will call Russia and say, chef, so that Putin will say, okay, I've heard you, I'm going to send some troops to come and rescue you. But it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, a head of state must not embarrass himself to such extent, to such levels. You know, when you want to deal with such issues, go through the ambassador. Let the embassy of Russia in Harare deal with those issues. These are not issues where Mnangagwa should deal with. These are issues which must be dealt with in between foreign ministries, in their private closets. But this man was publicly shamed. And this video is trending and circulating everywhere. Now that America knows, now that the Commonwealth knows the position of Mnangagwa, who is going to rescue him? Who is going to help him? Now that Ramaphosa is being weakened across the river, Limpopo, what is going to happen? So you understand that this is the end of Emerson Mnangagwa. Emerson Mnangagwa is burying himself and is creating enemies each and every time, but this is going to cost him. So this is what is happening. If you take a look on the relation between Zambia and Russia, the relations between Russia and Zimbabwe, you would see that Russia prefers Zambia more than it prefers Zimbabwe because there is a stability in Zambia. There is the investors can recoup their investment better in Zambia than in Zimbabwe. So all those issues are very important. And do you think the Russian embassy in Zambia is not going to defend Zambia? They are there to pursue interest of the Russian government, which means they will not jeopardize the Russian interest so simply because Mnangagwa said so. Because Mnangagwa is not going to be there for a very long time. Zambia cannot jeopardize, Russia cannot jeopardize its relations with Zambia because of a man who is about to expire, who is about to be removed. He's going to be removed by his own people. The same people who are ululating and clapping hands for him are going to be the same people who are going to remove him. So this is embarrassing to say the least. So this is what is happening. If you take a look on, I was here to show you the previous relations between Zambia and Russia. And in April, they had a meeting and they agreed, or they are pursuing to find a common cause or agreement to have Russians and Zambians move across the border without a passport, without a visa. That is not happening to Zimbabwe. So you see that Mnangagwa is continuously embarrassing himself.